Okay, so we left off right here with the Fairfax County layer, with the Fairfax County block groups on top. And so we're going to finish this map. And everybody should have Interstate 66. You can turn that on and off, okay? And you had the Fairfax County highways, which we may or may not use anymore, but we're not going to get rid of them yet. And now we're going to finish it. So to finish it, we're going to add some cities to Fairfax. And we do that over here in the catalog. So collapse your My First Map folder, that's where all your products are going. And we're going to open up USA and add the cities DTL. Stands for detailed cities. It just means it includes basically every town in America. Now let's clip these. Well, we're not going to clip them. We're going to select them. This is another way to achieve only cities within Fairfax. So we're going to do select by location, which I don't think we've done yet. Select by location. We want to select from the cities DTL cities that are completely within selecting feature Fairfax County. And it's a new selection, and just run it. You'll see they all turned turquoise inside of Fairfax. So now what we do is we right click on cities DTL and go data, export features, and cities DTL, click on the little folder next to it, next to the output class, and let's call this Fairfax County, that's CTY underscore cities. Okay. And then save that, and then we'll run it. And now we have a Fairfax County cities layer. So we can remove cities DTL, and what we have left are just the cities inside Fairfax. Okay. Now from these cities, I want to select just Reston. So to do that, I'm going to go to select by attributes, and I've made a mistake here. See, there's nothing in this input row. It's because I have the map highlighted, not the layer. So if I go back to select by attributes, now Fairfax County cities appears. So that's something to keep in mind when you're not seeing what you hope to see. Make sure you have the right things selected. So Fairfax County cities, we're going to make a new selection, add a clause, change this to name is equal to Reston, and just hit return or enter, and then run it. Now you see there's Reston right there. So we have to right click Fairfax County cities because we want to make a layer from Reston. We want Reston to be its own layer. So you right click the Fairfax County cities layer and go to data, export features. It's going to export the feature that's selected, and that's Reston. So we're going to click on this folder next to output feature class, and we're going to call this Reston. And then save it, and then run it. And now we have Reston. Okay? So we're going to keep the Fairfax cities layer in here, but we're going to clear the features in that layer. So now you see Reston isn't highlighted anymore. But how can we tell Reston from all the rest of the cities? We're going to click on this dot here where it says click modify symbol, and come over here and click gallery underneath the symbol, and then scroll down to the number 3 star right here, and then click properties, and we're going to change this to 12 point. I made it larger, and apply it. And I don't like the color, so let's change that to a bright blue or something that will show up well on that background. Okay, so there's our Reston star. And while we're at it, let's label it. Right click, go to label, and it should label it as Reston. If you get anything else, you'll just have to raise your hand and I'll help you fix that. Okay, now click on labeling up at the top of the screen, and let's add something to this. I want to make it stand out a little bit more, so go down here to this POI white halo, and you can see on the map what it does. It put a little white background around it and makes that Reston stand out a little bit better against the background. Okay, go back to map. Okay, and we'll move on to the next thing here. Okay, I want to know how many cities are within 5 miles of Reston. And these are going to be the cities that are within Fairfax. Okay, so we won't grab any Loudoun County cities or anything in Maryland or anything like that. Just what we have here. So let's do, we're going to search by location. And our input feature is not going to be Reston, because we're not trying to select Reston. We're trying to select towns that are within a certain distance of Reston. So we're going to choose the Fairfax County cities that are within a distance of Reston. And the search distance is going to be 5. But the units are going to not be decimal degrees. I'll tell you more about decimal degrees later. They're not really a normal distance measure. They're an angular measure. So we won't worry about them now, but we will change this to miles. And run it. You'll notice it actually includes Reston itself and 4 cities around it. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to have to do, we're going to open up this cities table, Fairfax County cities table. And you see there's lots and lots of cities that are just listed in this table, and you see some that are highlighted. Those are the cities that we just selected. So we're only interested in those. So what you'll do is you come down here to the bottom, and you'll see this little bar that changes to the label Show Selected Records. When you click that, you're only going to see the cities we just selected. It's Reston, Great Falls, Herndon, Wolf Trap, and Drainsville. Okay. All right. So if you see the populations here, the population data, this isn't correct actually, and we're not actually, we want to know the total population, but we're not able to see it unless we create what's called a summary table. Okay. You might think that right-clicking on here and doing statistics would work, and it's not giving you what you might hope to get. It's sort of I'm not exactly sure what this shows, but it seems to be a distribution of all the different size cities, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to close that. What we really need to do is summarize. So we have Fairfax cities that are selected, and I want to know the total population of all these cities, including Reston. So we're going to just let it be called Fairfax Cities Statistics. We're going to change this field here to population 2010. You'll notice that there's no recent data for these cities. It appears that cities only get upgraded or recounted every 10 years. So the next time it will happen is in 2020. So population 2010 and sum is what we want. And remove this, just leave nothing in there for the case field, and then run it. And what you should see is a table pop over here underneath your table of contents. Right click on that and open it. Okay? And you can see that the total population of those 5 cities, the ones that we highlighted in plus Reston, 5 cities, that's the frequency, 125,175. So right now what you need to do is take a screen capture of this, and this is how I want you to do it. Change this to list by data source, and then go to Snagit And you would, I can't show you how to do this here because I'm using it to record this video. But if you need help with Snagit, I'll show you, and maybe I'll just do it once for everybody in the class. Okay. All right. So after you capture that screenshot, save it into a folder on your desktop called My First Map, something like that, and then come back here, and we're going to close this window. And we don't need these cities anymore, so we can close that also. And we can clear the selected features. Okay. Okay, so now turn on Interstate 66. I wanted to show you something interesting about this. For the longest time, it puzzled me why the roads are like this. But roads are not just single lines. There are many lines that make up this line. And if you zoom in on here, you can actually see some segments in there. But the easiest way to see that these are more than one line is just open the attribute table. This is a number of all the lines. All of these are all the different polylines or line segments that make up Interstate Highway 66. Sometimes it shares a name with the Custis Memorial Highway because Route 50 and 66 become one and the same in that area. So, but in any regard, inside of Fairfax, these are all the line segments that make up Route 66. And we'll get into later why they don't make a single line. It has to do with editing. But it's better to keep segments than it is to make a single feature. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that these distances make no sense at all. You can't tell what unit it is, and no matter what unit it is, look how small the numbers are. 0.06. These are very small numbers. They're probably decimal degrees, and so you can't use them. Okay. I've already added this length table in here, but I'm just going to add it again so that I can show you how I got that. And then I want you to take, you'll also, then we're going to summarize the length of this road, and then you'll take a screenshot again. So add a field called length, and I'm just going to make one called length 2. So you come over here to add, and you add field. And it brings up a whole new table. And this is just for adding fields. And when you call this one length, I'm going to call it length 2 or a length B. I want to make sure I don't get caught with a problem with that number. So you're going to call it just length, and you're going to change the type of data. Click this box until you can change it to float. And then over here, click until you can change number format to numeric. Change the number of decimal places to 2, and click OK. And then up here at the top, click Save. Now all you've done is added a field to the route, the Interstate 66 attribute table, and you'll see it right here. And you should get the same numbers that I have here when you do this. It's very easy. You right-click on the heading, length heading, and do Calculate Geometry. Interstate 66, the field that we're interested in is length, and the property is the length in distance, in geodesic distance. That means it will be a distance, not decimal degrees. And the length in unit is going to be miles. The coordinate system is going to be the same as the current map, this Fairfax block groups map from our last session, N8083 UTM Zone 18. So everything's looking good, and then run it. And there you go. I got the same answer I got last time.